Hi, this is Toast. Before we get started, I wanted to give everyone a heads up. We had some technical difficulties when we were recording on this day, so you might notice a difference in quality on some of our tracks. It's still listenable, it's just not up to our usual standards. These sort of things are inevitable when you are making a podcast, so it happens. If you hear anything in this message as well, that's my dog. She is excited that I'm talking to myself. Thanks for listening. Now it's Eli's turn. Bye!
Hi, Elijah here. Before we get started, I'd like to shout out our top-tier patrons. A big thank you to Nikki, Sean, Mace, Alan, Penny, Claire, Kit, the Jexbury guy, and Katie. If you would like a shout-out and access to our bonus content, you can find us on patreon.com/dandiesindanger. For a one-time shout-out, you can also support us on ko-fi.com/dandiesindanger. As always, the best way you can help us grow is to tell your friends. Subscribe, leave a review, or leave a positive rating. Thank you all so much for listening. And now, on with the show.
Previously on Dandies in Danger.
The dog is going after Adrian. The dog pulls you towards the stairwell, but you have the good instincts to brace yourself, to keep yourself from being pulled any further down the stairs.
He wants to jump over Adrian and tackle that dog.
Yeah!
He's running to, put his hands on that dog to light it up.
Which means that it is now Daniel's turn.
I think he's just gonna take the collar off.
The fifth dog spirit is released into the ether. The cleaning closet is just around the corner from where we've been fighting. Amongst the extra candles, there's another candle with a circular frame mounted in front of it. Before we go back up to the attic, Zachary, you have to let us take a look at those wounds that the dog gave you on your shoulder there.
We should let Adrian do it.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine, I trust Liam.
Okay.
Liam doesn't really know what to think at this point just yet.
Liam, I'm not any different.
You're a little different, Zachary. You could put fire on your hands and not have it burn you.
Shall we go back up to the attic?
Adrian's not doing very well. Is there some way to heal him?
The boar's blood. That's being used down at the pools.
So Zachary leads us by shadow down to the ground floor. There is an immense magical pressure that pushes you out of the shadows into the hall. There is a statue in here of a king and a sort of subservient figure below him. There are veins of light splintering from a focal point above that kingly statue. Zach, you immediately recognize these threads as the soul tethers connected to the victims of the house.
It's that clock.
Is it the clock?
I knew Daniel should be obsessed with that clock.
Something in there doesn't want us in there yet, and I think something in there is quite dangerous. I'm going to pull us back into the shadows.
And now we are standing at the entrance to the attic. Liam and Daniel have to sort of interlock their arms a little bit to line up the letters so that one light is behind the other light, and the two of them together will create the phrase, Aperi Sanctuarium. The wall disappears. In the northwest quadrant of the room, you can see a white mark upon the floor. At one end of the room, you see a green dress.
Daniel faints.
Adrian, you also feel the ring that you're wearing, the wedding ring. You feel that start to burn.
Liam, why don't you put Adrian down anyway? We'll put him next to Daniel. You and I can have a look around, yes?
Adrian, your hand, which is bearing the ring of Miss Tabitha Blythe, reaches into his belt and pulls out the serrated knife.
Hi, my name is Elijah. My pronouns are he, him, and I play the voice of Zachary Wilkos.
Hello, I'm Cass. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm voicing Liam Bardsley.
Hi, I'm Chess, he, she, they, and I voice Daniel Pritchard.
Hi, I'm Toast, pronoun she, they, and I play Adrian Edwards.
We're picking right up from where we left off last time, which means that Liam was putting down a very injured Adrian, who now has this cursed ring on his hand, which prompted him to steal the serrated knife from Liam's belt. So, as you had done this, you already failed your wisdom check against this. The ring draws you with the knife towards the dress, and as you feel your hand pulling you forward, there is a split second for everyone else to react. Daniel obviously is still passed out, so he cannot make a roll, but Zachary, if you want to roll, you may.
16.
That is definitely a success. And Liam got a 17. So both of us have successes. Zach, what would you like to do?
Zachary, on instinct, is reaching out to grab the hand around the wrist. Because the one with the ring on is the one that has the knife as well, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, he's grabbing it and he's doing like a two-hand claw motion. He's like, "What are you doing?" he says as he takes both his hands and puts it on Adrian's arm.
Liam has basically wrapped one arm around Adrian's waist so that he can't move any further.
Ow.
Adrian, you're not getting any sort of sense mentally about what's going on. You can only tell that the ring is drawing you towards the dress.
Well, perhaps I should destroy it.
The dress?
Yes, I've got the knife here. Maybe that's what it wants.
Are you in pain?
Am I? No.
Your finger hurts a little bit.
Well, the ring is burning.
Do you hear any voices in your head? Do you think she's contacting you at all?
I don't hear anything, just sort of this, and he lets his hand wave in front of him with the knife.
As Zachary is holding on to that said arm.
Yeah. Well, why don't I don't know, I could just go over there. I could get it with the knife.
I honestly don't think destroying the dress is a bad idea. He looks to Liam for confirmation.
Well, we should be very careful if we're heading over there. I see something on the floor off across the ways there, and there might be traps in here, don't you think?
Oh, of course there are traps in here.
What about mirrors? Liam looks around and sees that there are no mirrors in here.
Thank goodness. Well, Daniel, what do you... Oh, right. Can I have Zachary, real quick, with his perception, do like a perceiving arcane check towards the dress?
Yes.
Okay. I have 13.
Wonderful. What this means for you, Zach, with a moderate, is that there is so much magical interference in this room that you can definitely tell that there is something wild going on with the dress, but from this distance, you can't really pick up on what it is specifically, but you can tell that it is immensely powerful.
I mean, I know there is power radiating from that dress, but something in Adrian wants to destroy it, and I can't see why destroying the dress would be a bad idea. There is a lot of power radiating from it, but I can't tell if it's good or bad. I can't imagine anything up here is great.
Perhaps it would free her.
Perhaps.
Well, we ought to just be careful, because if you remember Mr. Francis Blythe, he came up here and started destroying things left and right and didn't turn out very well for him.
Oh, right.
You're right, he became bound to the house.
And old.
And old. Let's approach it cautiously, shall we?
Right. Dorothea, are you satisfied with taking care of Daniel there? Yes, I'll look after him here. All right, so the three of us begin to move through the attic. Are we just going to make a beeline for it, or are you guys going to be, like, looking around at everything as we go?
Zachary's eye is going to be out for traps, so should I do another perception?
Yes. I'm going to say you get to choose whether or not you'd like to add your wisdom or your arcane.
Alright, I'll use my arcane. It's a 12.
In terms of what you sense magically, there are a few items that jump out to you as particularly interesting as you walk past them. Now, everything in here is magical to some degree or another, but these are the ones that draw the most attention. There is a small golden box. There is a pair of matching rings in the shape of serpents' heads. There's a box with crisply folded linen within. There's the stoppered clay jar that's rattling as you walk past. There's another jewelry box. There's a mask on the wall with a grimacing human face. There's also a box with a woman's mournful face on the lock. And lastly, there are two necklaces, one of which is the shape of a hand, and the other is the shape of an anatomically correct heart on the charms.
Someone's been shopping at Etsy.
You don't sense any traps. I will now, however, give Liam his last witness, because as we walk further into the attic, we are getting closer to that white mark, which we saw from a distance, which is on the floor. Upon closer inspection, the mark looks like a splinter of lightning, or thread-like veins with white roots. What sets this apart is that each of the veins, spreading from the central point of impact, ends in a spiral, coiling into an impossible point beyond what you can comprehend. Dizzying.
This must be where it happened. The man in the wheelchair, what's his name?
Mr. Blythe.
Yes, Mr. Blythe. This must be where he got attacked. Something happened right here.
Liam kneels down a little bit to look at the spiraling marks on the floor. His skin did have markings somewhat like this. Zachary, I think you're probably right. Do you feel any energy from this?
He kneels down and puts a hand on it. I'm going to perceive with arcane. 13.
You don't feel anything from it right now, so as far as you can tell, this is not active.
Well, it's an old wound. I'm sure it's just something left behind.
The floor does creak under us a little bit whenever we're standing close to this mark on the floor.
And there might be some damage in structural integrity. Fun.
Adrian's wandering off towards the dress.
He tries to step over it and he's following Adrian.
Liam also does quickly walk past this mark to get closer to Adrian as well.
Adrian, what's it feel like?
Just a draw? Well, it's burning like hell. But just a draw, like I don't have control over the hand.
So there's no, other presence inside? And he's casually walking with him, by the way, this is a conversation about the weather. So you just kind of feel like a physical draw? Like someone's guiding you? Or?
I think so. I don't sense Mrs. Blythe or anything.
It's interesting that something is trying to pull you along.
Well, it must be her, right?
I don't know about that. I mean, it could be anything. Objects can be conduits to any kind of spiritual activity.
Adrian, as you get closer, your vision starts to go green again.
Oh.
What's wrong?
Quite green. Is it green in here?
It's not. He stops Adrian from around the waist. Alright, stop walking forward.
Liam lifts up the candle to look into Adrian's eyes. Looks like the whites of the eyes have gone all green again.
Oh dear. Well, I don't know. This seems to be what she wants. Should we do it?
Well, you can't even sense her. How do you know what she wants? All you know is that this thing is dragging you towards her.
Well, it's her wedding ring, her dress, I presume.
Well, I mean, it seemed like a good idea 10 steps back. But now that we're here, I'm a little nervous. Especially seeing where Mr. Blythe got magically electrocuted. This doesn't feel like a great sign.
At this point, I will say that we have fully approached the dress and we are standing in front of it. And at this point, Zachary, you don't even have to roll for this because your senses are pinging like wild that there is ghostly activity tied to this dress. This is more than you would usually feel from any sort of object. You can pick up things like the lover's eye brooches that Adrian had put on previously, things like that, where it's there's a spirit connected to this. But in this case, it feels like someone took and has wound it up very, very tightly. It is intensely concentrated here around this dress. The closest approximation is what you felt whenever you were interacting with the armor.
I see.
Like Busch might have trapped Tabitha's spirit in the dress or something.
Zachary lets go of Adrian and steps back, folding his arms.
Here I go.
I don't like this, but I do perhaps think destroying the dress might be a good idea.
Liam says, "All right, be careful."
Sure, yeah.
So you approach, allowing the ring to take control of the situation. And as we had suspected, the ring draws Adrian's knife hand toward the dress with incredible ferocity, and you begin to tear through it. And whenever you do so, you actually feel that some of the burning sensation in the ring begins to ease up a little bit. Give me another wisdom roll.
6.
Zachary's just behind Adrian with a little bit of fire in his palm, just sort of spinning it around in case he has to throw it at the dress. Just it's become his new nervous little tick.
At the very lowest end of a moderate success, Adrian, you can suddenly feel the presence of Tabitha overwhelming your body.
Okay.
You remain conscious, but Zachary and Liam can see a sudden green light emanating from Adrian's eyes that shoots out towards the wall of the attic.
Adrian?
Can I answer? Or?
You can still respond.
Update, please.
She's here, I think.
Good presents, bad presents.
Angry.
Quite cross.
With you?
Don't think so.
So, Adrian, as you are continuing to bring the knife down violently into this dress to tear it to shreds, an image comes to mind. It's the image of Emily's little doll and how Nathaniel had been scolding her for having torn the dress to ribbons. But you see that it wasn't Emily herself. You see yourself tearing the dress to ribbons. And as you continue to cut this away, your anger boils over towards Lord Busch. That is what you feel most prominently, is that Lord Busch was responsible for trapping you here. And there is something else. As you continue to tear into the green and the shreds of fabric fall away, you also see emerald green wallpaper. And this feels very, very important. It's like this is being seared into your mind. as you are experiencing this sort of near possession is that she is finally trying to communicate with you in this moment, and perhaps it is the fact that you have begun to destroy the dress itself which has enabled you to communicate with her a little bit more clearly. And you just see what you've seen before, wallpaper being peeled back, shredded down to reveal what's underneath, and the emerald wallpaper being torn and shredded and ripped. And this is insistent. It's a demand.
We need to go to Emily's room.
Why?
The wallpaper, it should be destroyed.
What wallpaper?
The wallpaper on her walls? Where else would the wallpaper be?
Is there anything specific?
It's green.
And how are you?
I'm really pissed off.
Okay.
The light begins to fade from Adrian's eyes as he continues to absolutely destroy this dress. And Zachary, you can feel some of these threads of containment being loosened as Adrian destroys this dress. You can tell that her presence is not completely gone. Adrian, obviously. You can tell this as well at this point. But something has been undone. It also feels less powerful, as if by uncoupling her from this dress, you have sort of removed some of her spiritual power to the state that now it is more like the common sort of specters that Zachary is used to dealing with, but not fully moved on yet.
Zachary kind of takes a deep breath and leans away. He was not aware he had been leaning forward so much, but he sort of leans away a little more relieved. He says to Liam, I don't know if you felt any spiritual pressure, but I think this was a good move, tearing the dress.
All right, well, I'm glad you're all right, Adrian.
Uh-huh.
Do you feel...
Yeah, let's go. Come on.
Okay.
We need to go to Emily's room.
Well, we still have an unconscious Daniel to think about.
Has it been 15 minutes?
I don't think it's been 15 minutes to walk across the attic to cut up a dress.
Okay.
Yeah, but you guys were like looking at things and analyzing them and stuff. That takes a little bit of time.
It'll probably be 15 by the time we get to Emily's room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna leave me here?
No, we're gonna carry you.
Fireman's carry.
Okay.
Over Liam's shoulder.
Okay.
Can Adrian reach out and communicate to Mrs. Blythe?
Go ahead.
Okay. Miss Blythe, if you need to hang on to me to carry out your mission, you can stay.
You don't feel anything at this point. The ring is cold again.
Okay. Well, maybe she's fine.
Adrian, you've turned around now. Your eyes are no longer glowing green. I'm going to use your last witness. You see Miss Todd slipping something into her pocket.
Hey, what did you steal? Miss Todd, you don't want to steal anything from this house, at least not up in this attic. What did you steal? He's staggering towards her with a knife.
Zachary also turns and is gonna watch how this plays out.
All right. I suppose you've caught me red-handed. And she pulls out the jewelry box.
You don't want that. I've touched jewelry before and it goes bad.
Well, if you don't want it, then I'll take it.
No, you'll get
It's a
possessed.
bad idea.
Are my eyes going to start glowing green like the toffee?
They might. Just, you wanted those medals, steal those.
All right. I suppose so.
Have you not seen enough accursed things to convince you that maybe you shouldn't be stealing things from this particular attic?
She shrugs, and she puts the amulets down, but she doesn't seem too bothered.
Are you just having some fun? Is this a game to you, Miss Todd?
Adrian.
Sorry, I'm just still
I was just
riled
having a
up.
laugh. He's right. Just having a laugh.
Let's go to Emily's room. Let's go.
Liam sort of like carefully walks up behind Adrian and like takes the knife back out of his hand.
Okay.
All right.
You keep it.
Okay. All right. Lean on me while we walk.
All right.
Zachary also, when you walked in, you talked about there being a vampire skull and a werewolf skull.
Yes.
Zachary is looking at those especially, and he makes a note of it to talk about it with you guys later.
Yeah, what's that about?
Zach already knew that vampires and werewolves exist because he worked at the church.
Yeah. He also knows that the church hunted them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
So he's like, that's weird.
Guess what?
Hmm.
Whenever you look at them more closely, you can see that the church symbol is included on the base of these.
That's as I suspected, he muttered. He made a note to talk about it with Daniel later.
Here we go.
All right. He follows.
Liam is trying very hard to just sort of keep an arm on Adrian to keep him from charging ahead and hurting himself.
While you're also carrying Daniel, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, we will...
Throw him over your shoulder. Throw him over your shoulder. Throw him over your shoulder.
Stick him under your arm like a football.
Yes, okay. Liam picks up Daniel and carries him sort of hanging over his shoulder a little bit, and we can carry on down the stairs. We have to sidestep the suit of armor as we continue down the steps, but other than that, we are unmolested as we carry on towards the first floor. As we head down the echoing stairwell, that is whenever we hear footsteps rapidly ascending from the ground floor.
Mr. King?
Yes, it's me.
Where have you been?
Wait.
Where the hell have you been?
I'm so sorry. It's just, I was in my room all night.
Hiding?
I was hiding. Yes, I was hiding. I'm just so terribly scared of everything that's going on.
Does he have another brooch on him?
Yes.
Zachary puts his hand over it. He just sort of grabs him by the neck and he pulls him a little closer and he kind of looks at him like, do you need assistance taking something off?
He looks down at it and he nods.
He undoes it and then he throws it at the floor.
It shatters into tiny little pieces.
Adrian stomps on it.
Fuck that. All right.
Thank you so much. I heard so many noises and I heard the guns go off and I thought I wouldn't be able to live with myself if anything had happened to all of you. So
Adrian's pissed off. He's like, is that so? And what about the rest of the guests here? As far as we can tell, 2 other people have already been taken by the baths.
I know. I just want to make it right now, which is why we need to go down to the baths.
We're going to your niece's room.
Emily's room? No.
Yes.
There's an emergency in the baths right now. I think I saw someone headed down there right now, and I need your help. We need to get down there.
I'll go to Emily's room. You carry on.
How are you going to destroy the wallpaper?
I'll rip it with my hands. My
That
teeth.
will take too long.
She's magical. She could help me.
No. She's young and she can't control her magic yet.
We can go back to Emily's room after we've saved...
Mrs. Blythe was really adamant.
After we save who?
I saw... It was the Quinns.
Oh, the Quinns.
No, the really nice couple.
Yes.
Okay, you gotta go to the baths, man.
Liam's face pales whenever he hears that it was the Quinns that went down into the bathhouse. And he says, I suppose it would be better for us to go down and save them, and then we can always take care of the wallpaper later.
All right, I don't want anyone else drowning.
Let me tell you this. If we go in there, right now, there is no guarantee that we will come out. Something very, very big is in there. And if there's a reason why we've been pointed towards Emily's room, it is perhaps to weaken the effect on the house. We go in there right now, it will still be powerful. There may yet be a chance to save the Quinns, but we cannot do it if we panic.
He tugs on his ears for a second. Well, and he looks at Daniel, who's unconscious, and then he starts pacing, and he says, I have the key to get in there. I can get us in.
Give it.
He looks at Adrian. Give you... No, I'm coming with you.
You could go to your niece's room while we deal with this. Shouldn't you check on her?
I really think we need to go down there now.
All right, fine. Fine.
I'm not entirely convinced.
Then I'll go. Like I said.
I'll go with you. I have fire, and this fire burns magic.
All right, let's go.
Liam, see if you can rouse Daniel.
Right. He reaches over and he starts patting Daniel vigorously on the back. Daniel, wake up!
Hang on. He's supposed to sit upright, I think, for his fainting spells. You should put him down.
Well, you're the doctor, all right. And so then they set him down, and I believe by this point we can say that it has been about 15 minutes.
He bleary-eyed starts waking up, and it's probably very dark. He doesn't know what's going on. So he looks around.
You alright?
I fainted again, didn't I?
You did.
Mm-hmm.
It's alright. We took care of what needed to be taken care of and no one's hurt. We ripped a dress. A green dress.
Okay, what do we do now?
We have to go to either downstairs at the baths, where the Quinns are possibly about to be taken over, or...
The Quinns?
The Quinns. Or we have to go to Emily's room and destroy the green wallpaper. Green seems to be a theme here. It seems evil and needs to be destroyed.
What?
You need to go with Liam and help save the Quinns.
Okay.
I'm going with Adrian, and we're going to destroy the wallpaper, and I will use my shadow abilities to rejoin you both.
Okay. His right hand kind of tries to clasp around something, and then he looks confused and he looks down at it.
It's gone. You let go of it. Here. He takes a hammer. What about this? I know that you have a hatchet, but do you want it?
What are you going to use?
I have natural fire on me.
Wait, can I have the hammer? Please.
Yeah, give it to him.
Passes it to him.
He starts getting up and he pulls he reaches his left hand back behind him and pulls out the hand axe.
Wait a minute. Am I understanding correctly that you all have been in the attic?
Yes.
Did you take anything?
No.
Miss Todd tried to take something.
He's such a tattletale.
I mean, Mrs. Chumley. I told her not to.
He looks at her and says, "What have you taken? It's very important that you tell me what you've taken." And she says, "I don't know. It's all right. Tough made me put it back. I put your special little amulets back, whatever they were, little brooches. I thought they looked nice. They seemed very appealing. But no, I've put them back now. He saw me do it." And she looks over.
Adrian's squinting very
He can
hard.
he ratted on me.
Well, did you take
like
anything else?
Like a real tough.
Because they're cursed.
Well, I've taken care of it. And Nathaniel walks up and grabs her by the arms.
Well, now.
And says, "Did you take anything else?" And she pushes him back. He staggers a few feet, and she says, "Go ahead and try and lay your hands on me again. Go on."
Everybody,
I dare you.
please, now is not the time. We
Right.
cannot be making enemies of each other.
Okay, very well. Then the plan is that Mr. Bardsley and Daniel and I will go to the baths. What about... And he points towards Dorothea, and seeing that Daniel is also going to be going, she nods and she says, "Yes, I will also go down to the baths with you to help save the Quinns." He kind of looks askance at Beatrix, and she says, "I think I might split off from the rest of the group."
Do your own thing. Don't go back to the attic, please.
No, I won't go back to the attic.
What are you up to?
Well, you don't want me around, do you?
I just don't want you stealing cursed items. Good God.
Don't worry, I'm a big girl. I can take care of myself.
Where are you heading off to?
Yeah.
Just so that we know in case you need help.
She looks over to Nathaniel, but then she looks back at the rest of you and says, "I'm feeling rather tired. I think I'm going to go have a little sleep."
Don't do that.
Well, if you sleep...
You'll get drowned.
All right. I'll go read an educational book. Everyone's very concerned for my well-being. Very gentlemanly of you all.
Whatever it is you do, please don't get in my way.
Why don't you go meet up with Keen and Audley? They're in the honey room, if I remember correctly.
Well, I suppose so. And then she stands back and waits for the rest of you to move away.
Fine. Adrian, we have a little girl I think we have to save.
Let's go.
He takes your hand and moves you into the shadows, because that's just how he gets around now, I guess.
Nathaniel is looking at where Zachary and Adrian have disappeared with
Oh yeah, he's never seen
a
that.
very intense look in his eyes. And then he turns back to Liam and Daniel and says, "All right, you two," and then he gestures to Dorothea, "you three with me." And he proceeds to go towards the ground floor. First, we are going to follow Zachary and Adrian. So you are rushing towards the Emerald Room at the end of the hallway on the first floor. As you get a little bit closer, you can hear soft knocking following you down the hallway, very much like the knocking that you heard earlier from Tabitha, except this time it's sort of rapping on the walls with you. It doesn't feel quite as violent. It's sort of like bolstering you as you get closer to the Emerald Room.
Zachary feels it, and he feels the intention, and he's more sure about the way that they're going is right.
Through the shadows, you are able to pop up into the Emerald Room. And Emily is sitting up in her bed, and it looks like she's been trying to stay awake. She left the light on, and she is currently sitting up in bed, and she's got her arms wrapped around her knees, but her head is lying down on top of the knees. Seems like she maybe fell asleep while she was trying to stay awake.
I'm going to run over there.
Wake her up?
Yeah. I'm going to run over to Emily and say, Emily.
She looks a little bit startled whenever you wake her up.
Sorry.
And she blinks her eyes a few times, and she looks around and she says, Have you done it?
No.
Are we safe?
We're just in the process.
Oh, do you need something from me? Do you need my magic? She grins.
Not quite sure yet, says Zachary.
Adrian leans over. Can you tear some wallpaper off of your walls?
Uncle Nannel's gonna be very cross with me.
Well, piss to Uncle Nannel.
Adrian, Zachary's hand lights on fire, and he pushes it against the wall.
Fantastic. As you begin to burn through the wallpaper, you can hear outside the door, you can hear the rapping continuing to bolster you, and some of the flecks of this green wallpaper begin to deteriorate. Emily sees what you're doing, and seeing the opportunity for wanton destruction, as any child would be, she gets very excited, and she lifts up both of her hands towards the wallpaper where you've already begun to kind of sizzle it away, and huge sheets of it begin to tear off in huge chunks. And underneath it, there's nothing unusual. It's simply an older, less fashionable wallpaper underneath. but she gets very vehement with it and she starts tearing things as she goes.
Zachary continues to push more energy into the fire, and he tries to have it spread more rapidly. He had seen a Christmas tree once go up in a big blaze, and so he imagines that.
And he was in Westminster when it was burning.
Oh, that's true, yeah. So he pictures those things, and he really puts, huge intent into it so that the burning wallpaper just is faster.
Adrian holds up his hammer and he's about to go to town, and then he's like, I think they have it under control.
And that they do. Like a letter thrown into the fireplace, it sort of crumples in from the inside. Whenever these huge streamers that Emily has been pulling off of the wall, they also sort of sizzle off like little streamers disappearing into the air. And she's laughing and smiling at this, and she looks at Zachary with admiration. After the room has been cleansed of this wallpaper, she says, "Can you teach me how to do that?"
He smiles at her. Perhaps. Let's all just survive tonight and we'll talk about the future, shall we?
She nods enthusiastically.
Zachary tries to hear any of the knocking.
The knocking has ceased.
Adrian, do you feel anything on your ring finger?
You feel warmth.
It's warming up again.
Any particular place? Hold it up and see if it gets hotter or colder.
Yeah, he's gonna start dousing Rod with his hand.
You can feel Tabitha's presence, but she isn't asking for anything.
Well, I think Mrs. Blythe is satisfied. Oh, and then he puts his hand over his mouth because Emily's right there, and that's her mom.
She looks over and furrows her brow.
Zachary has no idea what they've done, really, in destroying the green wallpaper.
Emily, Miss Emily, how do you feel as far as your illness has been treating you?
Well, I'm still fairly tired.
Can I look at her eyes?
Yes.
Are they green?
They do still have a little bit of a green tinge to them. Emily pipes up and she says, "So, what can we do now? Is Lord Busch still around?"
In a manner of speaking, we are attempting to help some of the guests that are in danger. Emily, we're not really sure, but we think you should perhaps either stay here or... And the connecting room is with her dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or perhaps go over to your father and stay with him for now and protect him.
She sits up a little bit straighter and she says, "I can protect him."
Good, but while you're protecting him, that means you cannot leave his room or his side. You have to stay by him, no matter what, alright?
And don't go floating him down the stairwell and saying you're with him.
She looks a little crestfallen. Yes, alright. I'll stay near.
Because if
I'll
you're
keep him
safe, that helps us.
You'll still come back and teach me some magic, right? After you're done with Lord Busch.
I'll tell you what. You stay, protect your father, make sure you stay in that room, and I will teach you the secret of the blue flame.
Right!
Alright, but for now, you've got a job. He opens the door for her. Good luck.
So she goes into her father's room and closes the door behind her. And now we are going to jump back to Liam and Daniel. Nathaniel is racing the three of us down the stairs. As he goes, he looks to Daniel and he says, "Are you feeling all right?"
Sure, I fainted. Doesn't matter.
Well, I'm glad you're feeling all right. How did you all get into the attic?
We found the lanterns. Don't worry about it. The Quinns are in danger?
Yes, of course. And he continues running you down, and you enter into the hall again with all of the portraits. You can see that, as before, as Adrian pointed out, there are in fact 2 sets of red footprints leading out from the baths. Nathaniel just rushes forward. He's not making any sort of indication that he's aware of what's going on with the clock.
I think Daniel glances uneasily at the clock. And what's with that thing?
He throws a cursory glance up at the clock, and then he goes back to where he's standing near the door, sticking his ear up to listen inside. He says, Oh, that's just an old king family heirloom. It's a gift from a king a very long time ago. And he opens the door carefully, and he looks in, and he waves us all forward.
Well, I go.
Dorothea peeks in as well, and Liam goes in. Daniel goes in.
What do we see peeking in? That'll determine if I go in or not.
It's still dark.
Ah, shit. Can't see anything?
Mm-mm. Liam, I suppose, still might technically have the lantern that they used to get into the attic, so he kind of puts it in, and you can see, into the room, you can see where the dark water is, where the stairs go down into the water.
That's very scary. That's very scary.
Nathaniel goes, Go, 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 go!
No.
No, absolutely not.
Give me a contesting d20 roll.
10.
He got a 19. With strength that you would not have expected from such a scrawny young man, you are pushed into the bathhouse. Liam is already in there. Dorothea scrambles backwards. Nathaniel makes a grab for her hair.
That's a big no-no. Oh my god. Wait, okay, is the door closed? Can I attack him?
Not yet. He got a 15, which is a moderate success. I'm gonna roll for Dorothea. Oh no! Dorothea only got a 2. So he grabs her and throws her into the bathhouse and walks in after you and slams the door shut behind him. The lights of the small orbs illuminate all along the far wall, and you can see that the water of the baths is now a deep crimson red. Nathaniel is standing behind you with his fingers crossed, and he says, "Well, you've rather got egg on your face now."
Liked what you heard? Let us know by using hashtag #DandiesInDanger over on our Twitter, Insta, Tumblr, and TikTok in the listed links below. We'd love to hear any and all comments, questions, and theories as to where the story might be headed. Want to support us and our lads' adventures more directly? Then please consider clicking on the link and becoming a patron today. For just $1, you can gain access to our longer, uncensored outtakes and blooper reels. For $5, you can have access to exclusive stickers, in-world letters written by and for the lads, poetry by Adrian and Daniel, and original music from the show composed and scored by Chess Albanese. Can't afford to support directly? No problem. Podcasts survive by word of mouth. So if you like what you heard, tell your friends, family, and local graveyard ghosts all about these exciting tales. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Dandies in Danger is written and voiced by Elijah Bergateras as Zachary Wilkos. Cast as Liam Bardsley. Chess Albanese as Daniel Pritchard. And Toast as Adrian Edwards. It is edited by Toast. Original score and music composed by Chess Albanese. It is produced by Dandies team, and made possible by listeners like you.